Hello everyone, so I'm here today to do a little bit of a prediction for the shortlist of the International Booker Prize. So I have currently read 4 books, I'm in the middle of another one, and I have read the little samples that Kindle or whichever ebook app gives you of the rest, just to get an idea of the writing style. The only one I have not read anything from is When We Cease to Understand the World. Because I have a hold on the library and it's going to come in, I think, at the end of the month, beginning of May. So I decided not to read from that one, but I have read a little bit, at least abstracts of the rest of the books, so I get an idea of the writing style and so on. And I have to say that honestly, I think any of these books could make it to the shortlist, and there's none of them that I feel like they should absolutely not be there. So it is very difficult to predict because it's more of a personal choice than anything else. But I still wanted to make this video just for fun, to see how wrong I was, I guess. And I have some predictions to go through. So from the books I have read The War of the Poor, Wretchedness, Minor Detail, and The Perfect Nine, and I am currently reading Summer Brother. And from those, I think the one that has the least possibilities to make it to the shortlist is The War of the Poor, because I think it's just too short. I think the idea was great, but I think it's just too short, and it doesn't give enough of what it's promising. So I think that unfortunately that will not make the shortlist. And then from the other ones, I think the one that has the most likelihood of making it to the shortlist is Minor Detail by Ekvtimishvili. And this one is about a woman in Palestine, Palestinian woman that in the 1949, when Israel was being formed, and she was mistreated by the Israelis, and then also we follow another woman of the modern day Israel and Palestine, another Palestinian woman that is researching about the previous woman. And the language is beautiful, and I think it's super impactful and super hard-hitting, so I think it's going to make it to the shortlist. And then the other one that I would like to make it to the shortlist is The Perfect Nine by Diop. I'm not so sure about this one because I think it's a bit of a niche book. It's kind of written in verse, and it basically focuses on the mythology of the Gikuyu people in Kenya. And because it doesn't have a plot and it doesn't have a lot of character development, I'm not sure if it's going to be for everybody. And so I'm not sure it's gonna make it to the shortlist, but I really enjoyed it. And I think if I was the judge, I would put it in the shortlist, but I don't know if the judges will agree with me. So yeah, that one I'm not sure, but I'm going to put it in my personal shortlist for now. And then about Wretchedness, I didn't really like it. I didn't think that it had a clear idea or a clear direction of what it was doing. It's not even the plot, it's just like the thoughts are not organized enough for it to make a lot of sense for me. I have heard that other people really liked it, so maybe it's just me, but for me the complete lack of structure means that the book does not work as well as it's supposed to work, so I think it's for that reason it's not going to make it to the shortlist. And then the one that I'm currently reading is Summer Brother by Jaap, Robben, and I find that difficult to judge because I'm reading it in Dutch, and Dutch is my least fluent language to read in. So I'm not sure if it's just because of that I'm not getting as much out of it, but I'm finding it really slow. It's written a lot more beautifully than I thought it was going to be, based on the premise of the book. The premise of the book sounds a little bit like Ravn. There is these 2 brothers, one of them lives in an institution for mentally disabled people, and then there is this other brother that goes and takes care of him sometimes. So that's like the premise of the book, and from that and the cover and all of that, it sounded a little bit cheesy to me, so I was not very sure about it. But it is true that the writing is quite descriptive and beautiful, but it's just really slow. I mean, I'm doing the audiobook and I'm maybe an hour and a half into it. I'm listening to the one speed that is recorded at, because again, Dutch is not my best language, but still, like, maybe that has an impact. But I think in general, like, nothing really has happened much at the moment. It's very quiet and very nothing happens kind of book. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it will change because I'm only like in chapter 4 or 5. But yeah, based on what I have read now, I think that one will probably not make it, although it's better than I thought it was gonna be. So those ones are the ones that I have read, or I am reading. From the ones I have not read yet, but I have read little abstracts of. I think that, well, there's one, so The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enríquez. I think it's gonna make it, but I don't want it to make it, because I had read her previous book and I think she's an amazing writer, and I think I mean, a lot of people like these books with reason, and she is really evocative and she can really create emotions. It's just that those particular emotions that she causes in her books are nausea, and I just don't want to feel that, so I don't want to read this book because of that. And I haven't read anything of it because I know I have a sense of her writing because I have read something from her, and I think it's gonna make it, but I don't want to read it, so I hope it doesn't. That's my stance on that book. And then I Live in the Slums by Chen. I think it's fine, but it's short stories, and between The Dangers of Smoking in Bed and I Live in the Slums, I kind of feel like they would go for The Dangers of Smoking in Bed. I don't know why exactly I feel that way, but I Live in the Slums felt a little bit more generic, like it's not as memorable, so I guess that's why I think from the two short story collections in the list, The Dangers of Smoking in Bed has a better chance. But yeah, again, I have only read the one sample story from I Live in the Slums, so I don't really know for sure. Then we have At Night All Blood is Black, The Pear Field, An Inventory of Losses. Those three, I think they could make it. I mean, they are good books from what I have read from them. They sounded interesting and everything, but they, at least the one chapter I've read, didn't make such an impact. The writing was not bad, but was also not immediately beautiful or anything. So I'm just gonna say those ones are not gonna make it. They might, because, you know, yeah, there are, as I said before, all of these books could make it and it will be fine. They're all good books. But yeah, I have to choose some, so I think those ones are just not impactful enough, at least from the writing, because again, I have not read the story, so I don't know. And then I would say there is something also, like in Memory of Memory, I think that from what I have read, it sounds beautiful and I think it should make it, but apart from the fact that it's categorized as non-fiction, it's also Fitzgerald, which Minor Detail is also from the same publisher. And between the two, I think Minor Detail will make it more than in Memory of Memory. But I have put them both in my list of they are gonna make it, because those are personally two that appeal to me from the writing and from the structure and from other things more than the other ones. So I said that both are gonna make it, but it's very likely that only one of them will, and then I will choose minor detail, I think, over In Memory of Memory. And then the employees, I mean, this is such a different book. The premise sounds super interesting, and the part that I read, it's just that small snippets of interviews, and I think that's how the story is going to be built. I don't know if the whole book is like that or it's just the beginning, but I think it was such a bold choice to make, to tell it that way, and I have heard good things from the people that have read it. So I think and I hope that it makes it, just because it's such a unique concept and it's so out there. And I often find that the booker gives credit to different books, so I'm hoping that The Employees is one of them and it makes it to the shortlist. I'm going to put it in my list. So yeah, and then the last one, When We Cease to Understand the World. This is also a tricky one, because I'm gonna say that based on my preferences, it's gonna make it, just because the concept sounds absolutely amazing. It's about scientific concepts basically, and as far as I have heard, it's kind of a mix of essays and stories and just random things, and again, it's a very different way to tell a story, and because of the story itself is also kind of different. Normally when we focus on historical figures, are either politicians or writers in novels, and we don't pay so much attention to the scientists, because writers normally don't care so much about science, I guess. So yeah, for me, even though I have not read any abstract of this or anything, it just sounds amazing, and I hope it makes it, and I'm going to put it in my personal list. So yeah, I think those are my predictions, but as I said, I could be completely off and be completely wrong, and none of these books will make it. We will see. The shortlist is announced on Thursday, I think, and we will see then how wrong I am. Let me know in the comments below if you have any preferences of books that will or will not make it to the shortlist. And until next video, bye!